Did you know that there are 5.5 million family-owned companies that make up 57% of the U.S. economy? Well, if you ever wanted to know how to start a family business, stay tuned to learn more from the mother and daughter cannabis duo and co-owners of the Marion, Maine Medical Marijuana Dispensary. Hello and welcome to the Career and College Matters show, where we talk about important topics surrounding today's career and college concerns. Our goal is to inform, empower, and inspire you, our viewing audience, with information that will help you to discover and achieve true academic and career success. I'm your host, Dr. Mildred Charles, and today I am so honored to have Dr. Octavia Wiseman here in our studios. Dr. Wiseman has served Prince George's County residents for over 20 years. She prides her practice in providing the highest quality dental care with years of experience in many areas, including cosmetic dentistry, implants, laser dentistry, Invisalign, orthodontics, and CEREC crowns. She is a proud and active member of over a dozen prominent dental and professional associations at the local, state, and federal levels. Dr. Wiseman is a proud graduate from Georgetown University College of Dentistry and is also the co-owner of the Marion, Maine Medical Marijuana Dispensary in Capitol Heights, Maryland. Her goal is to change the dynamics of how people feel about the world of dental care and, you guessed it, the cannabis industry. Thank you, Dr. Wiseman, and welcome to the Career and College Matters show.
Thank you, Dr. Charles. Thank you for having me.
So honored to have you. And as you know, we're talking about career in college because it does matter.
Yes.
And I'm curious, at what point in your life did you know that you wanted to go into general dentistry?
Yes. Well, I've always known that I wanted to be in the health-related fields. Okay. I've always been the type of individual that wanted to help others. I studied for a long time to go into medical school. My sister is currently a dentist, and she insisted that I take the dental admissions test.
Wow.
While I was taking the medical college admissions test as well. I actually did significantly better on the dental admissions test, so I pursued my career in dentistry.
Wow. So can you tell us a little bit about your dental practice? You know, at what year did you start? Where are you located?
I graduated from Georgetown University in 1990.
Okay.
I had researched some areas in the local vicinity that were up and coming, new shopping strips and malls, and I was trying to decide where I wanted to live, if I was going to move back to South Carolina. That's where I'm originally from. I found a great spot, Mitchellville Plaza, not too far from here.
Okay.
And I started my first practice there when I was about 26 years old, as soon as I graduated.
Wow, that's young.
Yes.
So, okay.
I graduated and started that practice. So I've practiced there for like 21 years, and then I moved the practice to Glendale or Fairwood. So I'm currently practicing in Glendale, Maryland.
Okay.
It's been great.
So when you opened it, did you open it by yourself or did you have a partner or?
Well, I come from a family of entrepreneurs.
Yes.
My sister's a dentist, her husband's a dentist. I currently have a nephew who's a dentist.
Okay.
So they actually gave me my heads up and helped me start that practice. So it's kind of in our blood to be entrepreneurs, to start our own, and we just help one another.
That's amazing. That's a wonderful family business to be in.
It sure is.
So now if we fast forward to today, how did you get involved in the medical marijuana industry?
Well, that's a whole great story.
Yes, and we want to hear. Tell us, the 411.
Well, my daughter actually is the real founder of our business.
Absolutely.
She was at Spelman College
Okay.
and studying finance. So she was studying a lot of different businesses, and she has that entrepreneurial spirit as well.
It sounds like it runs in the family.
Runs in the family. And so out of nowhere, she came to me with a whole proposal on starting a medical cannabis business, and that cannabis was coming to the state of Maryland.
Wow.
And she wanted to be involved. And that was the beginning of our entire career here.
And at what year did that start? Around when?
2014, 2015, somewhere in there, we started our research, me doing my due diligence, learning about cannabis, learning about the business, going out to Colorado, California, other states to learn about it, meeting people so that I could make sure this was what I wanted to do.
Wow, yeah, because that's a serious career choice right
Yes,
there.
it is. Yes, it is.
And it sounds like you did your homework. But did you ever see yourself playing such an important role in the state of Maryland? Because if I'm not mistaken, 2014, it wasn't yet legalized here for medicinal use yet.
They had just passed the rulings,
Okay.
And we were one of the first applicants to apply in the
Wow.
state. So it fast forward to now, I mean, it's completely a different atmosphere than when we started back in 2014, 2015. The licenses weren't awarded until like 2016, so we prepared up until that time.
Wow. So what did the rest of your family say when they heard that you were going to go into this industry?
Well, I grew up where any medicine, anything that wasn't a medicine that you were using that my mother thought you shouldn't have been using
Okay.
was not allowed.
Okay.
But I knew from my research that it was something that was beneficial and that was helping quite a few people.
Okay.
So I was very receptive. Again, I come from wanting to help people.
Okay, yes, especially in your practice. And so could you tell us a little bit about, you mentioned your daughter, she brought the business proposal to you, and so are there any other co-owners involved?
There's one other co-owner, Dr. Larry Bryant. He's an oral surgeon that practices in the state of Maryland as well.
Okay.
He actually practiced next door to my practice at Mitchellville Plaza for those 21 years that I was there.
Wow.
So throughout the years, I got to know him and several other doctors in the building. Most of us moved from Mitchellville Plaza over to Fairwood. So when Hope came to me and said that, Mom, this is what I want to do, I knew I needed help. I couldn't do it alone. So I kind of went next door and I said, hey, Larry, what about, let's talk about medical cannabis. And he was very receptive and he came on board, and then we built our dreams.
That's wonderful. So what is the one important lesson that you learned in, being an owner in this industry?
One important lesson. It's a very serious career to be in. We deal with patients, so there's a lot of compliance and a lot of regulations and rules. I'm kind of used to that being in the medical field. So I think the most important thing is that we are doing what's right for our people to be healthy.
That's awesome. And what would you tell parents who have children who want to start their own business?
Who want to start their own business? I think like any business, you have to look at everything involved. Make sure that whoever you're going to partner with, especially if it's a family member, that they bring the right tools and that they have those tools or that they can learn them. And that you can work together well.
That's awesome. Well, that is a fascinating story, and we're going to stay tuned to talk to your daughter. But in our next segment, we will have the opportunity to talk to the one and only Hope Wiseman, who's here in the studio with us. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Yeah! Sam, Elmo.
Oh, hey, Julia. You ready to play band with us? I'm going to play my clarinet.
And Elmo's gonna play his drum. Drum loud.
Oh, well, you know what to do, Julia.
Julia knows.
With Julia's autism, loud sounds can be too much.
But she still loves to make music. Play band.
Early screening for autism can make a lifetime of difference. Find out more at screenforautism.org.
Welcome back to the Career and College Matters show, where we talk about important topics surrounding today's career and college concerns. I am your host, Dr. Mildred Charles, and joining me for this segment is the one and only Miss Hope Wiseman. So Miss Wiseman is a Prince George's County native who has always been passionate about serving her community. After graduating from Spelman College with an economics degree and spending a year at SunTrust as an equity institutional sales analyst, Hope decided to continue striving for excellence by pursuing her dreams of entrepreneurship. With her financial and banking background, Hope founded her company Che Incorporated, based on her vision to create opportunities for minorities who have been disproportionately affected by the war on drugs. In the fall of 2018, Ms. Wiseman opened the Mary and Main Dispensary in Prince George's County, Maryland, and, wait for it, she became the youngest Black woman dispensary owner in the United States. Wow, what an amazing accomplishment. Thank you, Ms. Wiseman, for being a guest on our show. We're so excited to have you. My God, where do we begin with your story?
Thank you, Dr. Charles. Thank
wow. You. So you went to Spelman. What an awesome school to attend. Tell us a little bit about your experience there.
Yeah, Spelman was such a great place for me to grow into womanhood. The school taught a lot more than just traditional education, but how to be a Black woman in this America that we live in.
Wow.
So I really do feel like it gave me the tools that I needed to be successful and confident in this world in every arena. Because I know a lot of people say, you know, how does it feel to be isolated with only Black women? But it's great because you get to learn so much about who you are and where you came from and how to succeed as a Black woman.
Exactly, that's beautiful. And Spelman being an HBCU, that adds an extra level. But your story again, talking to your mom, what a fascinating story. At what point did you know you wanted to go into the medical marijuana industry?
Well, with my background in economics and finance, my mind was definitely thinking in charts and graphs. So
wow.
I had just graduated from school. I had started my full-time position doing equity sales, which is pretty much selling stock research for those people who don't know.
Okay.
To hedge fund managers and mutual fund managers.
Oh, so you were doing it.
Yeah, I was really doing that. I was a Wall Street girl, but down in Atlanta, having clients on Wall Street. But I remember watching CNBC and seeing a graph of the growth of the industry, and the graph looked like that, and I had never seen a graph be straight like that about growth of a new emerging industry. I realized that this industry would be one of the biggest of my generation and that I had a unique opportunity to get in on the ground floor level. So that's what sparked my interest, that graph that looked like that.
Oh my God, so you really did learn, you learned what you needed to know, because that, as you mentioned, it being ground floor. So, I mean, and with that, I've heard so many different reports in the state of Maryland, how when the industry was emerging, that minorities were being kept out, but obviously you don't fit that statistic. So I'm just curious, what was all of that about? Is there any truth to it?
Yeah, so when you look nationally on the ownership of cannabis businesses, only 4% out of the entire ownership space nationally is African American.
Wow.
So when you go to Maryland, you're going to see that reflected in the Maryland numbers. So what you saw a lot of reports about were initially the cultivation and processing aspects, not the retail aspect of the business. But even when you look at the retail numbers, 102 dispensaries were licensed in December of 2016, and out of that, there are about 6 minority-owned businesses, not including women, but true minority-owned businesses. There are 6 out of 102. That doesn't reflect accurately the makeup of the state.
Wow.
So that was one instance with retail businesses. But as for cultivation and processing, which control the supply chain of the industry,
wow,
no minorities were awarded those licenses.
And what's fascinating about your story is you actually, at what age did you start this?
Yeah, I was straight out of college when I first had the idea. I was about 22.
Holy smacks.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was a long journey for us. We
Okay.
didn't open the actual store until 2018.
Okay.
I started with the first article was published about me. I was 25
Oh my gosh.
at that point, but we had already put in some years of sweat equity. I had already
Okay.
left my job and was pursuing this full time. So yeah, I've been, it started at about 22. I'm 27 now.
And what's interesting about the similarity with your mom is that you were in your mid-20s when you both started your practice, and here you are. I mean, this is, it's just an amazing story.
Thank you.
So do you have any plans to open other locations?
Definitely. Marion, Maine, we definitely have plans to be a national multi-state operator. I think it's important for everyone to know, though, this industry is not the type that you can just go open a store wherever you want, whenever you want.
Absolutely.
You have to be licensed.
You have to be compliant, right?
You must be compliant, and you have to show a pattern of compliance. This is why you see a lot of the same companies getting licensed in multiple different states, because they've shown that pattern of compliance, and that lets the states know, because right now everything is state regulated. So you're in Maryland, it's one way, you're going to go to Virginia, it's a completely different way. But we definitely have plans to expand through actually winning licenses and acquiring licenses through purchases.
And so I guess the last question is, what advice would you give to other young people who want to start their own company?
Oh, I would say to dream out of the box and think of ideas that are innovative and new. And if you do have an idea that you feel saturated, to think of ways to differentiate yourself and not let any naysayers tell you that there's no way.
Spoken wisdom, words of wisdom from a true professional, a go-getter, a trailblazer. We are so excited to have you here. So in our final segment, we will feature this amazing mother and daughter cannabis duo to share their experience about what it's like to work together. So stay tuned. We will be right back.
There's a lot of fear in coming back to school. I wasn't sure if I could do it. I'm a 40-year-old man that walked in there to get his high school diploma. It was very hard for me, but the teachers, the counselors, they help you. One of the teachers was Miss Araceli. Miss Araceli, she gave me direction. Every single time I had a question, she'll put down whatever she's doing and she'll come over and she'll sit there with you until you get it.
Thank you, Ms. Araceli. I know you make a difference in people's lives because of the person and teacher you are. I wanted to be here because I wanted to thank you for helping me get a beautiful gift.
50% of getting your high school diploma is walking through those doors. The other 50% is doing the work. Getting your high school diploma, it is a life-changing experience. It really is.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Welcome back to the Career and College Matters show, where we talk about important topics surrounding today's career and college concerns. Well, joining me for this segment is Dr. Wiseman and Hope Wiseman. As you already know, they are both co-owners of the Marion, Maine Medical Marijuana Dispensary. Thank you, beautiful ladies, for being back. So excited. So in this segment, I just want to talk about, the family business aspect. What are some of the challenges, if any, that you experience working together in a family business?
Well, I think for me, we tend to work a lot together, and we don't know how to shut it off.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
So we work during the day, and then at night we'll call each other and we'll talk, and then like first thing in the morning we call each other again. So we love what we do. We love working together. We love the challenges that it brings. So we just tend to spend a lot of time doing it.
That's wonderful, and you're so passionate about it. And so in what ways do you feel like you're building generational wealth with your company?
Well, this is definitely something, along with my mother's dental practice and some other entrepreneurial ventures that we have together, and that my mom has a part. When we're both not here, there will be something for our family to continue on. And I think especially in the African American community, that is overlooked and is not deemed as important. So it's definitely something that we try and perpetuate for others to see, be an example, as well as we speak about it as much as possible to try and bring that pillar back to the African American community.
Yes, that's amazing, because I know some young people who have parents who own businesses, but they won't work for the family business because, unlike your experience, sometimes it's difficult if you're living with the family member and then you have to go work with them. And sometimes they just don't see it as a viable career option. So I'm curious about your patients and people who actually come to your dispensary. What is the average age for your clients?
Well, I think the average age is above 40 and above.
Okay, that's interesting.
I think a lot of our
younger, so you're saying it's above 40, okay.
Definitely. And then we have a large population of baby boomers as well. I think that comes from a function of, now that the industry is becoming legalized, especially older people they do not have any interest on staying in the black market. This is very forthcoming, and you can come in and ask questions.
Okay.
So I think that's the main function of it. Also, it's a higher price point than the black market at this time. So I think that keeps younger people, still there, and then older people are able to shift because they have more discretionary income.
No more nickel or dime bags.
Right.
That's just
no
not
more
working
of that
anymore. Okay, so so what are the residents of the county saying about your company? Are you getting the feedback and support that that comes along with this?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, I have worked in Prince George's County now for 27 years. I definitely feel the support of my colleagues, my neighbors, my friends, of people that we meet wherever we go. People are very excited about what we're doing. We're trying to educate more because education is very key to what we do. So we do a lot of education through Marion, Maine.
Okay.
And we will continue because we know that this particular field, cannabis, has stigma associated to it, and we're going to relieve that stigma.
And yes, and that's a good point. That's in terms of the stigma, because people still see it in a negative. It still has those negative connotations. So how do you deal with that?
Like my mother said, education is definitely the first line of defense. It gets really difficult, and I think this is also when America started to shift their view, our view on cannabis. When you start seeing children who seize every day, take a few drops of CBD oil, and then completely, they're not having seizures they might have had one every day, and then now once a year they seize. When you see that, and you see that difference, when you see someone going through chemotherapy look like they're literally dying in front of you, and then they begin to use cannabis and they look lively, they're happy, they can eat, they can sleep, and have a better quality of life. When you see those things, you cannot ignore the power that this medicine holds. So there's a lot more research that needs to be done, but we focus on the medicinal aspects of the plant and educating people about those aspects, how it actually works in your body to balance your system and bring you back to homeostasis. That's what we focus on, and we believe that's the key to eradicating the stigma.
But isn't there a difference with the CBD aspect versus the THC? I mean, like, I'm
so
curious
I think
about that.
People need to understand that CBD, what you're seeing in gas stations, CVS, and
Yes.
and on Amazon, CBD is cannabis. What the difference is, once it becomes hemp, which is what is legalized right now through the Farm Bill federally, it's legal, is cannabis that has less than 0.3% THC. And THC is the only psychoactive compound in the plant. So when you get drug tested, you're tested for THC. However, cannabis has over 100 different cannabinoids. That's what THC and CBD are. And it has hundreds of them. Those two are just the most prominent and where scientists have found have the most medicinal qualities.
Okay.
But CBD that you're seeing that's legalized, it's the same thing that we have in our store. However, it has less than 0.3% THC. And once you start studying cannabis, you'll learn that the THC is needed to slightly activate the CBD. So higher levels of THC are normally preferred for medicinal uses. However, if the CBD outweighs the THC, it's not going to make you high, if that makes sense.
You know your product well.
Yeah.
This is just wonderful. And so I guess my last question is, you're so passionate about the work that you do and working together. So how important is it for you to do what you love and love what you do?
It's very, very important, I feel. I've always talked to my children about learning to do something that they really enjoy doing. That way they can do it for many, many years. I love dentistry. I always have since I've even started practicing. I wish I had had a daughter or a son that wanted to be a dentist, but that didn't work out for me.
I'll manage the practice.
Okay, you'll manage
Yeah,
it.
I'll manage it and hire dentists.
But now we're off on something different. So.
And that's amazing. And Hope, what about you?
Yeah, for me, like my mother said, I literally grew up watching my mother teach me that, to love what you do. So it was natural for me to go into an industry that I knew I would be passionate about.
That is amazing. Well, we are so grateful, so thankful to have you both here. Well, that is our show for today. We want to thank our studio guests, Dr. Wiseman, Hope Wiseman. They are amazing pillars in our community, and we also want to thank you, our viewing audience, our amazing crew, our staff here at PGCTV, and we just want we hope that this information you found was useful, and we thank you so much for watching. And don't forget to do what you love and love what you do. Bye for now.
All right, Monroe, you ready? Monroe. Here we go, the butterfly. Ready? Ooh.
I've been driving a truck for 40 years now. If people knew what I know, lives could be saved. Like that trucks can't stop quickly. It takes my 80,000-pound truck 200 yards to come to a complete stop. So I always do my best to give a lot of cushion. It helps when other drivers realize that and do the same. Please give trucks the space we need so we can all stay safe. It's our roads, it's our safety.
National Prevention Week is a celebration of all the things that happen all year long.
Prevention is at the core. It's mental health, physical health.
Some of our National Prevention Week activities have been focusing on the illegal drugs, illegal use of opioids.
Drugs, alcohol, mental health, suicide, underage drinking, tobacco use. Prevention is about saving lives.
This is where it happens.
This is Prevention at Work.
If you love them enough to crawl into a play place to get them to come down, then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.